Hello, everyone, and welcome to the MudBox. I am your host, Pavi, alongside with my co-host, Therese.
What's good?
How are you doing this evening?
I'm fantastic. How you doing?
Good. Been chilling.
Good. That's what's up.
Oh, how was your weekend? Why you choosing like that?
It was a good weekend.
Oh, okay. Good. How's your clubhouse sessions going? Good?
Yeah, demon time.
Demon time.
It goes well.
What is demon time?
You know what demon time is. We're all adults here.
I don't know what demon time is. I'm kind of slow when it comes to social
demon
media.
time is when adults get to explore different avenues of themselves where that they can't do during the daytime. Express their sexuality in different ways. Demon time. In the most conservative way I can say it. You've been in my demon time. He's been in the demon time room. He knows what it is.
Oh, Kenny the cameraman's been in demon time?
He's been in demon time.
Oh.
He knows what I'm rocking with.
You know what?
That's another conversation for another day.
That is another conversation for another day. But today we are going to be talking about businesses and taxes. Tax season, everyone. Can't wait to get that refund.
Shoot. Me too.
Yo.
COVID
has messed us all up.
Yeah.
And every last one of us is trying to find a way to make some money or maybe even some quick money. But I don't know. Have you ever have any problems when you're filing your taxes?
I haven't really had any issues. I've always had like people that I know did it. Last year was the first time I went outside of people that I know. I went to a recommended person, and I got way more money than I ever expected.
Did you?
Yeah. Because he just had the special forms and papers. He did different things that the regular person wouldn't do. They was going triple tax and that's taxes. I would get like 900, 1,000 back.
Hopefully you don't get fined.
Huh? I'm not gonna get fined.
Well, of course. We're gonna ask those questions today. Questions today. So, for you ladies and gentlemen out there, I know you're so excited about tax season. You're so excited about getting that big refund. Claiming those kids, claiming whatever you can. But I know there's a lot of us out there as well who are a bit worried because of COVID. Some of us have dipped into our 401k or even taken out loans. So today we are going to be talking to our very own professional tax man. And I want you guys to please give a round of applause for our tax professional, Refund Mike. Hey. What's up? Welcome to the show, boss man.
Oh man, thank you guys for having me. It's been a hellified year this year, 2020. A lot of people lost a lot of jobs. Mm-hmm. A lot of people actually had to do a lot of stuff from their home. So, it's going to be a quite interesting tax season, that's for sure. But we're all looking forward to this upcoming season because, it's going to kick off a little later than expected. But we know what the delays, we're just going to continue to push forward. As America, that's what we do as Americans,
Wow, so patriotic. So patriotic. That's amazing.
Great.
I know I have a lot of taxes because I'm an actress, and a lot of times, like whenever I do my taxes or wherever I get paid, I don't get taxes taken out. So for me, I would say it's been, I have a tax professional doing my taxes for me, but I still probably have a few more questions when it comes to my taxes. But I want to really do some general questions first, because I know there's people out there who probably think they know about taxes, but probably could use some more information. So first, I want to say, what are some of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to taxes?
One of the biggest misconceptions to me is people thinking that they can't file. If you have a job, you make $3,000 and you had $200 of withholding. Sometimes a lot of people, they'll have the conception that they don't have to file. Anything above $3,000, you actually have to file. So, it's just leaving that $100 or $200 out there for the government to just kind of pretty much take. That's one of the misconceptions. And another misconception is anything's earned income credit. Well, not earned income credit, but earned income. So if I pick a nickel up off the ground, that's actually me earning income. So if I actually, any kind of income that you make, is actually income that you have to report, supposedly. So the biggest misconception for me is people not really having the information that they need to file. And another misconception is I know in our community, um, having, the kids, a lot of people, I didn't work, what I'm saying, I have to let somebody else file my kids. That's a big misconception. I mean, um, it could kind of pretty much put your the tax return in jeopardy and kind of, leave us out here, not having the right documentation and some of the other stuff. But there's a lot of misconception with taxes because it's so broad. But I mean, those are some of the simplified ones. But yeah, anytime you make money, you have to kind of report it. Off the, especially something like actress like that, you probably gonna get it's a subcontractor, so you get a 1099, and you have to kind of know that what you have to write off. A lot of that stuff is written off, like costumes and cell phones, internet services, how people get in contact with you, all kind of whatever you utilize for your actress, been an actress, or whatever industry you're in, just utilization of just being able to write off things.
Okay, so I want to talk about, you said mentioned the kids and how people have a tendency of, because I didn't work, I can't file for my kids, so I have to have somebody else do it. So would that be one of like a big mistake that people make?
I think that's one of the biggest mistakes, especially in our community, minority community, because you have, it's an algorithm that the IRS have, and a lot of times, a lot of people don't understand when kids skip on a tax return. They see the kid that was on there, that person this year before, that person the next year, and also when you're looking at the proving your earned income tax credit, one of the key elements is proven relationship. The relationship test is extremely important. If you can't pass that part of it, you fail the entire thing. So, and then there's a 10-year penalty in the event that they want to penalize you. So now you can't even file for those 10 years. So I mean, it's a lot of kind of misconceptions, especially with claiming kids. But I always try to tell people to most definitely claim your own kids. It's obvious if you at your house you did some type of work. So I mean, just pretty much I always try to tell people to claim their own kids because it's more beneficial. Because if you can't pass that first test, which the first test is a relationship test, you practically they practically can freeze your return and you don't get it.
Wait, so there's a relationship test that you have to take when you're filing for children,
Yeah.
or only is that after you've been audited, or
if you get audited? And again, it's an algorithm that they have. They kind of see that the kid's been claimed. They already know if the kid been claimed on another person return. You know what I'm saying? They got a tracking history that shows the social security number and where that social security number been on their tax return, the previous tax returns. So they can look back, probably up to 7 years or something like that. But that is one of the key elements. Is like you fail the entire earned income tax credit and child tax credit, and you're in with the ability to kind of hold your entire tax return up, or they'll freeze it. So that's why I was kind of practically tell people to kind of claim their own children, and if not, don't let them randoms kind of claim them. And sometimes they be like, hey, okay, that's the stepmom. They're not on a birth certificate. So when you say relationship, aunts, nieces, nephews, it's a correlation. I mean, you have to have enough birth certificates to show their relationship. When I say relationship test, yes.
Oh, I would have never. Well, I don't have any kids, so I ain't got to worry about that right now. And I hope I don't have to worry about that anytime soon. But I would love to have that little income coming in. How about you, Trey?
I mean, I think that's interesting. So let's say that a mother has been claiming her children. The parents are separated. Mm-hmm. Mother's been claiming the children for the last 5-6 years. Let's say the mother and father are cool now, and she's like, you can claim one of them. That's a situation that can happen after so many years of her.
Yeah, of course. Again, the relationship is passed. And that's the second correlation. The second question is, did the kids live with that person the entire year? And that's so you always have 12 months. A 6 is a tiebreaker rule also. That's available for them. But in the court system, sometimes it's already set up that they kind of pretty much systematically allow one parent to claim them odd years, one parent to claim even years, and it kind of go back and forth. And if they have some type of correlation with that. But the best thing about that situation is the relationship test is proven because the father is on a birth certificate. Where we jeopardize the return is a lot of times is because that relationship ain't there. And when that relationship is not there, and you can't kind of, it's black and white. It's practically black and white. You have a birth certificate. Is the father on the birth certificate? Yes. Sometimes we run into the problems where the father is not on the birth certificate. Okay. And they kind of have to submit the paperwork to actually get that father on there. So, but that's a good question. It's doable. You know what I'm saying? That's one of those situations I always tell somebody to most definitely do because that relationship is there, and you don't have to worry about going tit for tat on a relationship because it's really black and white because the father is the father is the father of the son or the daughter. So
I have a quick question. Can a man on child support claim somebody? No, seriously.
A man on child support. Men take care of their kids, so of course, again, it's all in the court system. Being able to prove, but ideally, you want to most definitely want to claim your child. It's not just claiming any child. That's the problem. That's the problem that we kind of have in our community. Just throw a child on a tax return. Next thing you know, it's frozen, and nobody's getting money off the entire situation.
So, question. So that in that situation, who has the rights to claim a child? If a father is giving child support, but the child is with the mother, who has the right to claim the child?
It's a tiebreaker rule. You want to have that correlation with, who is actually taking care of the child for the year. You know what I'm saying? But, of course, the biggest key is the relationship.
Well, again, that will say, who gets to make that tiebreaker? The courts or... Well, is that between you and your individual? Because to say that, who's the person to take care of the child more? Well, you would say, the mother because she lived with the child. But if the father says, well, I'm giving $1,000 or plus per year that pretty much take care of the rent and some other things, I could easily say, although my child doesn't live with me, I am taking care of the child maybe a little bit more than she is because she's got a low income housing or she doesn't make as much as I do or providing the family as much as I do.
Yeah. Well, the truth of the matter is whomever the child lives with.
Okay.
So they break it down, but as we would say, just like he stated that they kind of got a better relationship now. So now the mother and the father has come to a point where, okay, hey, well, I'm gonna give you the opportunity to claim this kid, and of course, they still might not have the third element in it, and that's the proof of the child living with them for 12 months. But the biggest test is relationship test for me because if you fail that, you fail everything. Proving the child live with them. The kid could have the father could be actually on his emergency card and stuff like that. So that's a third party. So when the IRS look at things, they actually look at the third party. They don't look at a rent statement or anything like that. They want to look at somebody that's don't have no affiliation with the situation.
Okay, interesting. And for you ladies and gentlemen out there watching, if you have any questions, please leave us a comment and we'll definitely get to that. Have Mr. Reefa Mike answer them. So I want to go to another question. So what do you think is better to use when it comes to preparing your taxes? Doing it yourself through a free service or going to a tax professional, or does it depend on your situation?
I would say it depends on your situation. If it's a straightforward, if it's a straightforward W-2, not nothing pretty much tricky with it or anything like that. But I always like to have two set of eyes on anything. So if I'm getting the same number, just like he said, he trusted in someone else to do it, and of course he got more money. Of course I don't know what was the situation with that, but once you get at a certain caliber of the income and you're making a certain amount of money, just the way the new tax system is set up, it's not really set up for the middle class people anyway, because they're withholding money from your federal withholding, and they're not trying to give any of it back. So if you have an expert that can actually get some money back instead of you having to pay money in, it's always good to get a second eyes on it. You know what I'm saying? But if it's a simple return, I mean, most definitely use TurboTax in those free assessment things. But for the most part, I mean, I actually like the experts because just have a second eye. I mean, it's just somebody that might see something or know something that you might not know, and it could equate to an extra $1,000. And $1,000 is, I always tell people, that's gas for the entire year. So just kind of having kind of two eyes on it, it's going to be always beneficial to whomever, whether it's myself or anybody else. I mean, I'm pretty good at what I do because I've been doing it for a while and been in business forever. So I kind of know all the write-offs. But for an individual that's out there, 9 to 5, got a lot of withholding out or kind of withheld a lot of money, most definitely want to see a professional because it's money that's on the table, and you don't never get that money back if you don't utilize their services. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I myself, before I started doing it, like my biggest return was 17,000, but it took me knowing what I was doing to get that money back. You know what I'm saying? Before, I just left a lot of money on the table, and that's what happens to a lot of Americans.
Yeah, I mean, my withholdings at 0 right now. I don't have anything. I have no exemptions.
Right.
I just whatever comes out of my check comes out, and so whenever it's tax time, like since I went to an expert, I saw that there was a big difference in because I'm paying. If I can be specific, like there was a check I had in December with a commission check I had, and they took like $400 out of my check. And I'm like, that's my whole commission.
Right.
Like y'all didn't even that's my commission that I worked for, and I don't even get that back. That's crazy. So in my head, I'm thinking, well, I can't wait for tax time because I'm gonna get that back in whatever he can work with to make that happen.
Right.
Because what I was told is that there are specific forms and certain type of withholding information that some experts know that we don't know. When we just go into tax, we just feel how much we worked, how much we made, how much tax. They go into how many miles you drove, if you had to drive to work. So if you work in retail, did you have to buy clothes to represent the brand, and how much did that cost you to buy a pair of jeans for 5 days a week? And you can go deeper into taxes if you have an expert who can teach you those certain things to get the most back that you deserve.
Oh, yeah, great. So what are some things that people might not know that they can claim on their taxes?
I mean, every situation is different. Now, every client is different. Again, he's in retail, right? Again, I mean, and they took a lot of stuff away. Like a lot of the driving to work and stuff like that. They kind of took that away. You know what I'm saying? That 2106, it was a 2106 a couple of years ago. Once they changed the tax code, a lot of stuff they kind of took away. So a lot of the Schedule A stuff that you used to utilize, they kind of took a lot of that stuff away. So, and I always say, have a business. I mean, there's no need to just settle with an on-job situation. You know what I'm saying? Have some type of outside entity where you can kind of write a lot of stuff off. I mean, just a couple months ago, I was looking at reading an article about a Donald Trump situation where he didn't pay that much taxes. And I always tell people he actually pay a lot of taxes. It's just his taxes, payroll taxes, his taxes, maybe property taxes. He just ain't doing much on the federal side. So they're gonna get the taxes one way or the other. But I mean, and just to kind of piggyback off of what he was just stating to himself, to us, that there are write-offs that you can utilize. Again, they kind of been minimized a little bit more with the new tax code. But I mean, if you're using the internet, you know what I'm saying, at your house, that's one write-off I always like. I mean, another write-off is your cellular phone services. How do people get in contact with you, especially if you're using that for retail? How does this customers get in contact with him? That cell phone is written off. Just a multitude of things. It's just you have to kind of carve that niche into whatever you utilize them for your business or retail or whatever it is. You got to kind of make that tax return equate to that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So whether it's mileage, they used to be able to take that off, but a lot of that stuff has been kind of taken away from us. One of the biggest misconceptions is homes and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Making sure you put that stuff on there. But a lot of that stuff is you got a standardized deduction and you have an itemized deduction. That standardized deduction, if the the thing, what they did was they increased the standardized deduction. So it normally was 6,000 or 9,000, and they increased it to 12,000. Married filing couple, I think it's like 24,000. So they increased that. So a lot of times the Schedule A is not being utilized like it once was before, but they have way more opportunities for way more stuff to get written off previously before.
Interesting. So I know 2020 was a messed up year. So a lot of us out here, especially people with businesses, were able to get access to the PPP loans and the SBA loans. So for those out there who actually took those, what advice would you give them? What should they be prepared for this tax season?
PPP loan, that's a payment protection loan. You can't utilize the money that you use to pay your people on your tax return. So you can't write that off. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times people have a misconception. Okay, then we got this money. Now we get to write it off. No, you don't supposed to write it off. You know what I'm saying? That was actually, it was supposed to help you pay your employees. So that part of it, you just have to understand that you can't utilize those write-offs for that right there, because you don't supposed to. But I mean, not to say that people want it. And as far as the SBA loans, you got interest, whatever interest you may have on that or whatever. Of course, you'll be able to write that off. Some of the stuff that you use for the SBA loans, you'll be able to write off. The PPP is totally different because it was for a payment protection plan. But SBA, if you use some stuff on your business, say you can depreciate some stuff. Say you bought some chairs or cars. I know a young guy have a moving service, bought himself a van, and to help create more opportunity. So he'll be able to depreciate that. Use the you can probably use any expenses he incurred as far as maintenance or whatever. So I mean, the SBA and PPP is two totally different things. One is actually a loan for your employees per se, which was a payment protection plan. And I think some of that is written. You can not necessarily write it off, but it's forgiven if you actually paid your employees at a certain point. So that's going to be extremely important for a lot of people, just to get that thing forgiven.
Somebody asked about what about people that do Lyft and DoorDash, stuff like that.
Lyft and DoorDash. A lot of times they have like a little tracking system, especially Lyft, and I think Uber and some of those right there. They got the tolls. They got like that thing really like set aside, just like they like really is kind of honed in on that stuff. And then they should have that form come to me, maybe a 1099K or something like that. If not, it's a 1099 NEIC or something like that. But they have it kind of. They should see something on that email. They'll have the tolls and the mileage they drove. They got like some like crazy algorithm with the tracking and stuff like that,
Oh, interesting. Very interesting. I know a lot of people out there who are doing Uber and probably don't know how to file. So random question. How far back does the IRS audit you?
The IRS can audit you up to 7 years. So, I mean, most people is like, keep your documents for 3 years, but they can actually go up to 7 years, So, I mean, you're looking at situations where they can go back. I mean, this Internal Revenue Services, they can play with you for a minute, but they can go back for like 7 years and audit you. But, anything after 10 years or something like that, they can't. But, they have the information, so they can most definitely audit you at any time.
So what would make them audit you? Like what kind
of? I think like back in the days, people used to use the 2106. And
can you explain the 2106 for those out there who don't know what that is,
man.
or like in the simplest form as you can?
All right, the simplest form. The 2106 was employee reimbursement miles. So if you drove your car to work, well, not to work, but for work, say if your company gave you a car and you drove it and you utilized the miles that you drove with the company car, people would use that as an unreimbursed expense when it was truly reimbursed. So, and too much, when people go a little bit too far with their return, as far as, I mean, an expense is an expense. They already have like an acknowledgement of what you should be spending for such and such and such. So, like, if it's a cell phone, it can be maybe 4,000, but it can't be 20,000. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, and like mileage, they have like a mileage chart for every NAT code. So, like when you're doing a Schedule C or you're doing a S corp, all that stuff, they have like a certain amount of mileage that you're supposed to report or something like that, where they already know. So when you go above and beyond and get egregious with it, that's when it gets you audited, from what I've seen in my 10-year experience.
We have another question. Someone says, so if you didn't get your stimulus, you're supposed to file taxes, right?
Yeah. If you did not get your stimulus, this is a key element. This is very, very important. You didn't get your stimulus this year, file your taxes. You will get your stimulus through your tax return. So that is extremely important. If you did not get a stimulus, if you didn't get the second stimulus, you still get that stimulus in your tax return. So the key this year is, this is one of the reasons why you want to go to a professional, because especially this year. This year is totally different than previous years, because there's credits out there for the COVID, for sick leave and some other stuff. But it's it's more credits out there, and it's more money. From what I've been seeing on the tax returns, it's been a lot of money that's been a lot of money that's been into the system that the government is allowing for a lot of people to get this year because of the COVID. But if you didn't get the stimulus, again, I'm gonna go back to that question. If you didn't get the stimulus, you most definitely need to file your taxes this year. It's imperative and important, because that, again, when I say leaving money out on the table, that's leaving money out on the table, and the government is just, they've been taking from us for so long that they giving something back during these trials and tribulations with the COVID. So it's imperative that you go in there and kind of get your money from the stimulus check.
A question about the stimulus check. I know there's been rumors going around. Is it stimulus check all the money that we got from last year, the $1,200 and the $600 this? Well, probably for next year, whatever. Do we have to pay that back?
No, you will not have to pay that back.
I can't believe people believe that crap.
Yeah, people believe that you have to.
I had a group chat with my Clubhouse people, right? And someone in the group was like, "Yeah, my friend said that we have to pay it back." I said, "It's a stimulus. It's not a loan. You pay a loan back. You don't pay something that they give you back."
What form did you sign? But going back to you, so what do these people do? They just automatically, do they know? Like once they filed, is there something they have to do specifically to?
Once they're filed, I mean, a normal situation, what's going to happen is they're probably going to have to identify themselves. That's the key. Make sure you have the correct address. That's first and foremost, because how the IRS is going to get in contact with you if you don't have a correct address. If somebody call you, say they're from the IRS, that's a lie. The IRS will not call you. They operate through the mail. If you don't have the correct address on your tax return, you will not get the information that you need. You're going to be leaving money out there. Another misconception is a lot of times, a lot of people leave a lot of money out there because they change addresses. Make sure you go to U.S. Postal Services and change your address. If not, fill out the 8879. That's a form that you can pull offline and send to the IRS to make sure that they actually change your address in the system. If they don't change that address in the system, it's a lot of money that's left out there just because of an address, incorrect address. They're not there to find you. They don't have no problem not giving you the money. You have to make sure that you kind of update your information for them so that you won't be left out as far as money wise. But they're going to try to identify you. That's the first and foremost, especially if you have been out the system and they have you even filed taxes or anything. You need to make sure you have the correct address on your tax return.
All right. What about men and women out there who actually have gotten unemployment? I know with the coronavirus, a lot of people had to file for unemployment and they got the additional amount as well. What's something that they need to be making sure that they're prepared for on their tax returns?
Unemployment, 1099G, you need to make sure whatever to prepare you go to, just don't go above and beyond too much far as when you're talking about doing your self-employment businesses that you have aside from getting the unemployment. Also, make sure you report that 1099G because that's a form that's attached to the government, and the government has access to all of that information. So it's imperative that you actually make sure you report that 1099-G. Extremely imperative, and extremely imperative. When I say extremely, it will hold your refund up in the event that you do not report it.
Wow.
Okay, so just again, they want clarification on the stimulus. So we have Tiffany who says, so are they saying if you don't get your stimulus to file it on your taxes, or are they just going to give it back to you in addition to your taxes?
It's additional to your taxes. So like once you file your taxes and you didn't get it, they're going to put that money on your tax return
Automatically,
automatically,
without them having to fill the form.
Well, you have to fill out the form. That's why I'm saying
Okay.
That's why I said this year it's imperative to go to the professional, because you don't want to not you know what I'm saying, and not to say that Terminator won't have that question available for them. But like I already automatically know that it's there. So so the key is to actually have to go to a professional, is because you don't want to miss no money. And there's some other forms out there too that you utilize too. So that's why it's like, for me, you're seeing the biggest returns that we didn't see in the history of America.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off him. When I went to my professional, he got me a lot more money, and yeah, maybe I paid him a lot of my tax return, but it was worth it for what I got back in return, because there was a lot of knowledge that I didn't know, and I would have missed out. Like I want, if anyone can take anything from this, don't be greedy on a tax return. Like, don't be, just because you paid this person an amount of money, they got you a lot more than what you were getting in the first place.
Right.
Take it and be happy. They did the extra work for you. They deserve to be compensated. Let's not be greedy during this tax return time. I know it's been tough during COVID.
You mean don't be cheap? Don't be cheap,
cheap or greedy. Like, because some people, my tax guy was telling me, like, he showed me like the amount of tax I got, the big amount, and then he showed me what I was paying him off that. And he told me a lot of people get mad about the fact that he's taking that much money out. But I'm sorry, he's the one with the forms. He's the one who knows the information. So he should be compensated for getting me wherever I got. I got double than what I got prior to this. So I'm not tripping. Take the money. I'm going to be happy, and I'm going to leave and keep pushing.
So I have a question. So when you were talking about the stimulus package with people who didn't get it, you're only referring to people who were supposed to get it but never got the physical check in the mail, or are you also talking about individuals who never received it at all?
That's both individuals. If the person that didn't get it in the mail, or the person did not get it and just hadn't filed taxes, this is the time to file. And the reason why I say that is because you're supposed to get a stimulus. It was for all Americans. So, I think also if you was on child support, I think you didn't get it. So it's a certain thing. Certain people didn't get it. So I'm not going to sit here and tell a whole bunch of males to go out there and file if you was on child support.
There's some women on child support. There's some women on child support. Don't women, discriminate. Yeah, we don't discriminate here.
I'm not discriminating, but for the most part, it's a male concept. But so I think they had that in there. If you owe child support or something like that, you didn't necessarily get the stimulus. But for the most part, if you haven't been filing and you didn't get the stimulus, you most definitely need to file, because this is the year. And again, make sure you have the correct address on the tax return, because if you don't, it ain't gonna. You just running into problems where you're not gonna get no money anyway.
Okay. So I want to kind of wrap this up, because I know I can go on for days, but what is something, so if someone's out there looking for a tax professional, this is going to be their first year to say, I'm going to go to a preparer. What do they need to look for in their tax person?
Oh man, I would try to look for, there's so many tax people out here nowadays. Just check a person's history. Try to go somebody that you're familiar with. I don't necessarily like pop-up shops per se. When I say pop-up shops, they there 1 minute and you can't find them when you need them. So just try to find somebody that you can call, all the time, not sometime, because you never know when the document is going to come to your mail, and then you don't have that ability to get in contact with whomever prepared the taxes. But for the most part, you just want to get with somebody that's comfortable, that's in your area, not to knock anybody else services or anything. Just go with whom you feel comfortable with, and then make sure you can get in contact with them after tax season, because a lot of times you don't receive the verbiage that whatever you're getting from the IRS, you don't necessarily get until after tax season. A lot of tax professionals, they are off, once April is going here, they're out. So being able to get in contact with somebody after the season, a year-round tax service is always good to have.
Good, great, thank you. So if you could leave something for the people, a message for people when it comes to taxes and businesses, what would you leave for them?
Make sure you have a business, first and foremost. It's always good to have a business. It's always good to know your write-offs. This is endorsement for IQ mileage. I like IQ mileage. Kind of tracks your mileage. It's on your phone. It tracks every miles that you go. So get certain things that's going to help your business out. As far as tax wise, make sure you have all your documentation. Also, a lot of times people are rush, and we look at those loans and they look very enticing. But make sure you have all your documentation. It's just like the 1099-G. It's imperative to have that on your tax return. So just don't go in because you see the loans and stuff like that. And don't just have your documentation. Like the IRS is extremely anal with like a lot of people want to use the last paycheck stubs. And I always tell them it can be off by $2,000. So if it's off by $2,000, now we got to go to a tax advocate to get the situation straightened out. We got to do an amendment, and that's going to affect your tax return. So kind of wait until you get your W-2, because it's extremely important. The last paycheck stub do not look like the W-2. You know what I'm saying? For a lot of instances. Okay, so wait until you get your W-2s. Make sure you get all the documents, and then once you have all of that, then it's time to prepare, because they're going off of all these documents that you get. They're reported to the IRS, so that's why they have all the information.
Thank you for that. So for the ladies and gentlemen out there who are going to need some help, where can they find you?
Man, Instagram, I'm Refund Mike. Facebook, I'm Refund Mike. I'm just Refund Mike, so that's what I do. You did DM me whatever kind of questions you may have. And I've been in the game for a minute, and I know a lot of people in the game. So if not, I can't help you with my services. Most definitely, I can refer you to a lot of people that's on my team. I have a pretty big team. So most definitely, Instagram, Refund Mike. Facebook, Refund Mike. But just follow me, and just follow my movement, and it's gonna go from there.
Thank you so much. We appreciate having you on the show today, Mike.
Oh man, it's a pleasure. Thank you guys, the host and the co-host. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for everything, and but this is the MudBox, right?
This is the MudBox. It is a MudBox.
Perfect. So yeah, thank you for the host, Mr. Kenny.
Kenny the cameraman. So thank you guys for watching. But I want to say before we get out of here, I want to do a shout out to a Black-owned business. If you see my shirt here, this is by Wolves in Sheep's Clothing. It is based out of New York City. Right here. It's dope. So you can check them out at WISC 2011 on Instagram. And again, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching the MudBox. And as always, if you want to use our services, please check us out on our Facebook and our Instagram. We're at MudBox Entertainment on Instagram and www.mudboxentertainment.com. Again, always remember, stay clean and think dirty, everyone. Have a good night.